let me do my spammage in how do I do that? I don't even know what I'm doing around here anymore. There we go. There we go. Get that done. Boom. Bam. All right. I'm going to get my tea and then we will begin. Today's tea of choice is Earl Grey. I love this crap. It smells good too. All right. Well, that's not helpful. That's not helpful at all. All right. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the live stream. Just hanging out. We're just answering questions, whatever. This is a chill hangout thing for Saturday, so you can ask your Game Master questions, D&D questions, whatever. I don't really care. You can ask whatever you want. And then we'll just talk. We'll hang out. We'll chat. I got my tea. And somebody in chat's from Ireland. Adam, the D&D guy. Yeah. So this will be better for folks who can't normally make my normal ones that are like in the evening, which is around like what would you say, Adam? 1 a.m. Yeah. So it'll be a better time for some of you. Malta, jeez. Yeah, it's Saturday at noon my time. So like normal human beings around the world are like, hey, I'm not sleeping. I can come see this thing. Florida, sweet. What up, dude? Finland, hey, Finland, yeah. What up, man? How you doing? That's cool. Yeah, I like tea too. I like coffee. I like tea. I like both. So we are doing. We normally do giveaways on my live streams, and I'm trying something different today. So I have a bot that is in chat. I use Nightbot in chat, and it has a built-in functionality for doing giveaways. And so I'm going to try today. I'm trying with using Nightbot to run the giveaway. So that means that you're not going to have to go to a third-party site and enter email or whatever it was telling you to do before. Literally, for today's giveaway, all you have to do to win the giveaway is just be here in chat when I do the giveaway. That's it. That's all you got to do. So at the end of today's stream, like right at the end, there's literally a button here where I can choose a winner. And then of all the active participants that are in the chat, it's going to pick one of you, and it does have like, I wasn't super clear on how it worked. I read up a little bit about it, but it seems like the more active you are, you get like juju points or whatever you want to call it toward winning or something. It seemed like it was saying that, but I'm not totally certain about that. But I do know that the way it works is you have to be in the chat and you have to have been active for about 10 minutes or so to be pulled for the winner or whatever. So you can tell that I'm not super clear on how this works because it's my first time doing it. And I literally was like, right before, there's like a bug flying around here. Like, before the stream, I saw the option in Nightbot for running a giveaway, and I was like, maybe I can try that. And so I'm trying it today. We'll see how it works. We'll see how it works compared to the other one. So the only trick is once I've drawn a giveaway, like I can literally see everybody who's in chat right now. I can see people's names. And once like dime time, you're in chat. So if I draw a winner and it's dime time, I think you're gonna have to email me and be like, Luke, I was the winner, right? I think that's how it's gonna have to work. And then it'll just be like, what do you want to call it? What do they call that? Will you trust someone to do the right thing without cheating? Because technically multiple people could email me and say, Luke, I was the winner. But if I get multiple emails of people claiming they're the winner, then, you know, obviously, I guess nobody wins, because what am I going to do? I'm not going to give everybody who emails me. What do they call that? Honor system. Yes, honor system. Yeah, Mystics, I don't see you. You're invisible. It'll be the honor system. So like if you try to cheat, you're not going to get anything. So we'll see how this works. I might have to, I wonder if there's a way. What do you guys think? Is there a way that if let's pretend Dime Time wins, okay? Is there a way that someone could email me and give me proof that they're actually the user Dime Time? Is there a way they could do that without like revealing like, you know, personal information or something? Could they screenshot something that proves they are who they are? Does anybody in chat have an idea for that? How could somebody prove that they are who they say they are? Because like all I can see are your YouTube usernames. Like I can see Kelton Richie, Rachel F. Rachel, hey, what's up? How you doing? I can see Nicole Moon, Afoot, Andrew, Mystics, Nathan, Adam the D&D guy. So how can you... I don't think there was anything wrong with the old drawing system. I just wanted to try something different. It also just, honestly, it incentivizes people to be active in chat and then to come in at the end of the chat and be at the end. So like a person who's been here the entire chat, right, hanging out with us will have a greater chance of winning. And I think that's probably pretty fair, you know, that if you're here hanging out, you know, interacting and stuff, that you have a greater chance of winning. That seems pretty fair to me. So I think that's probably one of the advantages to it. Oops is getting his bacon. Sweet. If you got questions, just start dropping them in the chat and I'll answer them. Try to put like the all caps question before it. And then it'll make it easier for me to draw the winner. Or not draw the winner. See the questions. Sarita Custis, hey, what up? Welcome, surprise, good morning. So is it like the more you type in chat, the more chance you have of winning? I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure if that's the way it works. Maybe. It was kind of vague when I was reading over how the Nightbot giveaways work. Because it seems like you could probably scam that system if that's the case, just by spamming or doing something else. So... Adam says, my friend doesn't want to read the player's handbook, so should I get him to play Shadowdark? Yeah, sure. Shadowdark's, the rules are way easier and less complex than D&D, like by magnitudes. There's no comparison. Like the book for Shadowdark, you're like, okay, it's that thick. But you got to understand, the actual rules for how to play the game are like, I don't know, under 10 pages or something. And you can get the quick start guide for Shadowdark for free online. It's a free PDF download you can get. And they're super easy. So yeah, if your player either doesn't have the time or they are such a filthy casual, to put it in that term, that they refuse to read the player handbook so that they know how the game works and know how their class works, know how the spells work, know how their abilities work. If they're that filthy, right, and they're that or that lazy or that busy, you know, because there are people that genuinely are just busy and it's hard to do that stuff. I get that, 100% get that. I'm game mastering 3 different game systems right now, and man, it's rough when you, it's rough, and I don't know all the rules, and I get them mixed up and stuff. So it's not always laziness. Sometimes it's just being busy. So I get that. But if you got a player like that who's just, we'll just call him filthy, right? If you got a Mr. and Mrs. Filthy, then, and they can't be bothered for whatever reason to read the player handbook and know how things actually work, that's a problem, because it'll drag your game down, right? You got to explain things to them constantly. They don't know how things work. They're slowing down combat. They can't pick spells. Like, I had a player like this. I had a player, she would not, she played with us, for a year, and she still barely knew how certain things worked. And she never read any of the rules or book or anything. Everything she learned, it was just vicariously through playing with us, and she slowed the game down. She was a nice person and she was fun to have in the game, but you can't deny the fact that she slowed the game down, and the game would have run more smoothly and been better and probably more fun for her, maybe, if she had learned some of the rules and understood how some of the things worked. So if you have a player like that, then yeah, going to a different game system that has a lighter rules, easier rules, 100% is a better way to go, in my opinion. Definitely. Because then they don't have to, then it's like, well, the rules are so easy, like Shadow Dark, the rules are so easy and so it's simple to play the game that, like, man, you can just be a filthy casual or whatever. And the impact is much less to the game than if you're in a game like D&D 5th edition, which is pretty rules heavy, or Pathfinder 2, which is even more rules heavy. Because like D&D 5e is like, sure, it's the entry point of a lot of people to playing TTRPGs, fantasy role-playing games, tabletop stuff. It's the entry point to a lot of people, but it is fairly rules heavy. It's like, if you're like rules light, rules medium, and rules heavy, D&D 5e, in my opinion, is like rules medium to rules heavy. It's somewhere between those two. Right? And Shadow Dark is clearly a rules light system. Like, there's no, and in my personal opinion, I've talked about this before in videos. It would be far better if people had as an entry point into our hobby a rules light game like Shadow Dark, or an OSR type game, or something like Pirate Borg, or games like that, that are rules light and don't take nearly as much time investment or buying of books and spending of money to get into the hobby, learn the basic ideas, see if it's something that even suits you, that you have fun with. If people started off with a rules light system and got into the hobby and had fun, and then they could graduate, so to speak, to more rules heavy games to see if that's their cup of tea or not. Because I'll tell you, I ran D&D 5e for decades. That's all I ever played. And then I started running different game systems at conventions, and I was exposed to like, dude, before the internet age, and even after the internet age, I was still kind of like not super like online paying attention to things. Even now, I don't pay attention to too many things online. I'm too busy. But like before the internet age, dude, I didn't even know there was anything besides D&D 5e. That's all I ever played. And then I started going to conventions and I saw different game systems. I was like, what? There's other game systems? Mind blowing, And I didn't start going to game conventions until probably about 7 years ago. It was just never a thing that I did. But once I started playing different game system, and besides just D&D, my mind was open, my eyes were open, so to speak, to like, whoa, dude, there's other cool stuff out there, things that are fun too. And I started to really get this hankering and this, like, I started to really like the rules light systems, the systems that weren't super heavy and super complex, things like Shadow Dark or Pirate Borg or what is it? Mothership. That's the one I was trying to think of. Like rule systems like that are just super straightforward, easy to play, super fun, so it would be great if like the entry into the hobby for a lot of people were a rules light system, but we're not there. And I don't think we may never be there, because D&D is so ubiquitous, which is kind of unfortunate in some ways when you think about it, just because it would probably be better for people to learn rules light system first, as opposed to like a really heavy one. Because I think, and the reason I say that is I think there are a lot of people that bounce off D&D. And one of the reasons they probably bounce off from it is they're like, look at all these books and all these rules I got to read. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of time commitment. And then they're like, and a game session lasts 3 to 4 hours. And you got to play they're inviting me to play every week. Or every 2 weeks? Holy crap, that is some. I gotta do like, I'm exaggerating a little bit, right, to make a point. But I have to do some like college level reading of rule books. This isn't like a nonfiction book, or I'm sorry, a fiction book that you just pick up and read, casually before you go to bed or whatever on your couch. This is like rules books. You have to read the rules books, understand how they work, and cross-reference things. You know what I mean? Like this is like, I don't know. I don't know if it's college level reading, but it's not easy reading. You have to at least be thinking and analyzing and piecing things together and trying to understand how things work. It's not like easy reading, and that's fine. I don't think it necessarily needs to be that way unless it's made for kids or something. That's a different story, so it's like people like get these books and like, oh my gosh, this is like college level reading, and then I have to commit to playing with these people, like every week or every 2 weeks for several hours. And they're just like, I think I'm gonna play Skyrim or Subnautica or pick the game of choice, pick whatever you want to play. And they're like, I'm gonna go do that. And so Baldur's Gate 3, I'm gonna go do that instead. That's so much more palatable. So I think a lot of people bounce off from it, and that's just one reason, right? I think the number of people that bounce off D&D because of bad groups, bad game masters, bad players, toxic crap, I think that's really high too. Just there's a lot of nastiness, that people come in and then that's their first impression, right? Let's pretend that there's a group that's just toxic and horrible. That's their first impression of D&D. And they're just like, oh, wow. If this is D&D, then I don't want to play ever. And then they never go back, because of that group. Or they have a horrible game master and they're just like, oh, this game sucks. No, it's not the game that sucks. It's the game master sucks, man. Or the players suck, because you could have a wonderful game master and then a group full of bad players and that game sucks. So it cannot be understated how much good players contribute to the fun and enjoyability of a game. It's just such a huge thing. So but there are a lot of factors that cause people to try D&D and bounce off, but I submit to you that one of them is the complexity of the rules. Right. And so what I'm trying to say is that the more barriers to entry that we can remove, the more chances that people are going to get into the hobby and be like, oh, this is pretty fun, and then they'll kind of stay and they'll have fun and join the community and crap like that. So that's all I'm trying to say, I guess, in my own way. Okay, let's see. We'll get some more questions here. Woo. Oh, this is really interesting too. This is really cool. Check this out. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna show you how this giveaway system works. I'm learning how this works. I think this is interesting. So I can literally see, like, this is a list of people that are in the giveaway in the chat, and this is publicly viewable information. I'm not sharing any brain secret sauce with you, but it literally will cross people out when they're not active. So I can see that there are 5 people now that are not active. So if I were to choose a winner right now, all of these inactive people would not win. And then these people who are active would win. So that is super interesting. So these people either have left or they have tabbed out or something, and they're on a different tab. I'm not sure how that works exactly, but that's super interesting. Kind of like that. I can like call people out. I can say, hey, Mystics, Andrew, Nicole, Dime Time, and Jay, you got to come back to the chat or you can't win. Let's go. Become active. Just like shame them. Oh, I'm so bad. I'm so mean. This is awesome. I'm going to do this. I'm totally going to do this. And then it'd be hilarious if they pop back. I think one of them just popped back. 2 of them popped back. Mystics came back. It worked. Dime Time came back. It worked. It literally worked. Literally calling them out. They were tabbed out. They were wait, but did you hold on, Andrew? Okay, so Andrew, were you in a different tab? Was like the focus, so to speak, in computer terms, was the focus in a different tab or a different window, or were you doing something else? So Jay's back too. Look at Jay came back. Oh, I can totally just call people out. 13th Fox, come back to chat, dude. Let's go. Nicole Moon, hey, come on, we're waiting for you. Get back over here. Sarithna, you are active. I see you as active. So you're good to go. We got Dime Time says we got to figure out how long until it goes that inactive. 13th Fox came back. What up, dude? How you doing, buddy? So right now we just have Nicole Moon, who we're waiting on to come back to the stream. We got one person we're waiting on. Mystic says I have multiple windows open, so if I click off it, it makes me inactive. Yeah, I'm sure it does. Mystics, let's try a little trick here quick. Go to a different tab or a different window, and let's see what happens. Just just tab away, tab out or something. I want to see it. I want to see what happens. Oh, we could time you. No, I'm not going to give you that information. If I tell you guys all the secret sauce of how it works, you're gonna see some of you are gonna scam the system. Yeah. All right, Mystics is still here. I still see you there. A Footick says this dude's laugh is contagious. Oh, I should just laugh more. Adam the D&D guy says some people have asked questions. You're welcome to repost your question if I missed it. I'm sorry. I'm just kind of like, whatever. I'm a bad person. Sorry. Adam says, a few streams ago, I asked you about the mug and you said you got scammed or something. I found it on Amazon. Oh, you did? You found it on Amazon? Oh, okay, cool. Yeah. So yeah, I got this from a company who it's great. The quality is outstanding. It is like and then you can see it's got it says on the bottom, because I'm the DM, that's why it's actually got T in it. So I can't show you, but the quality is amazing. The wood, stainless steel interior, easy washing. It's like top-notch quality. But the company was going to give me like an affiliate thing, and then they dropped it off the face of the earth. So I don't know what happened there. But anyway, Nathan says, remember to like the video. Yeah, you can click the thumbs up button if you want. If you want to help me with all those stupid YouTube games, you're welcome to do that. Otherwise, I don't care. I'm beyond caring, you guys. I just don't care. YouTube has been doing stupid crap. Like they did a thing recently where they're no longer counting views on desktop if you're using ad blocker. And so lots of content creators like Bob World Builder, Dungeon Craft, some who are my friends, and then other people as well are getting nailed. Their views are just like pooping out because apparently the YouTube's algorithm or their view counter no longer counts views if you're using an ad blocker, apparently. So on desktop views are way down, whereas mobile views, where ad blockers aren't a thing to my knowledge, mobile views are unaffected, but desktop views are way down. And so a lot of people are getting nailed by that because YouTube's doing all these stupid games and crap, which really sucks for some of these guys because they rely on AdSense. They rely on the ad revenue from YouTube as part of their livelihood. Like Bob does this stuff full time, and I'm sure he has other streams of revenue, but like the AdSense that's a thing, and it's not just the AdSense from YouTube. It's also a lot of sponsors will pay you proportionate. Like if I do an ad spot for some product or whatever, they will pay me proportionate to the amount of views that I get on my videos, or the views that I get on the video where I do an ad spot for them. So if I only get 30,000 views on a video, they're going to pay me this much. If I get 100,000 views on a video, they're going to pay me more, right? A lot of ad sponsorship contracts are built that way. The more views you get, the more they pay. That's just, it's like, what do they call it? Like CPM or something. It's like the cost per mil. So every 1,000 people, there's a certain cost they'll pay you, is how that kind of works out. Not all ad sponsorships are created that way, but a lot of them are, and generally speaking, as a YouTuber, the more views you get, the more valuable you are to a company who's going to pay you to talk about their product, to promote their product, and so folks like Bob or Dungeon Craft, Dungeon Craft has done ad spots for different people's Kickstarters, but he's always done ad spots for people that are his friends, the ones that I've noticed. So he may not have been paid for those, because if like I've done ad spots for people who are my friends, and I don't ask them for money. I just do it because they're my friend. Like Dungeon Coach. Dungeon Coach when Dungeon Coach does a Kickstarter or something, like his DC-20, I was telling you guys about it, but he didn't pay me anything for that. I didn't want him to. He's my friend. I'm just helping him, So, but I know Bob takes ad spots from different companies and stuff. So, my point is that these folks who rely on AdSense, YouTube advertising revenue, and then sponsorship money for their livelihood are getting nailed because of YouTube's little view counting thing that they're doing. So YouTube's just like playing games. And I mean, I guess I get it. Like if people have ad blocker on and they're not seeing the ads, like then, I guess it kind of makes sense, But so the theory is that YouTube wants us to beg our subscribers to turn ad blocker off or something. I'm not going to do that. I'm tired of playing the games. YouTube has always got all these stupid games. You're supposed to like tell people to like the video and leave a comment down below. You're always trying to farm engagement and all this kind of stuff. And I'm just tired of it. I'm just like, I'm not playing these stupid games anymore. I'm going to make videos, and if people want to watch them, fine. If they don't, then I'll fade into obscurity, and who gives a crap, So I'll keep publishing books, and everybody will be happy. So I'm just not going to play the games anymore. But some people need to play the games, and YouTube is screwing them, so they suck. Suzanne, hello. How you doing? I am drinking Earl Grey tea. Earl Grey. That is my poison of the moment. Yeah. Afook says, let's be real, YouTube ads have gotten out of control too. I swear every time I see minimum 2 commercials nowadays, highly annoying. Oh yeah. I have bought this was like 5 or 7 years ago. I can't remember how long ago it was. I bought the YouTube Red subscription. There's like a YouTube premium subscription you can get where you don't see ads. And I think I pay about $15 a month to YouTube to not see any ads ever. But it also allows me to download videos to my phone too, because there are some videos I want to watch later, but maybe I won't have good internet connection or something, so I can download them. Oh, it also allows me to, I can normally on YouTube, like if you're going to watch a video, if you lock your screen, the video stops playing. What this subscription does is it allows me to keep the video playing while my screen is locked. Because a lot of times what I do is I'll have YouTube videos going, I'll have headphones in or earbuds or whatever you want to call them, and then my phone's in my pocket and I'm like washing the dishes or cleaning my basement or something, And so I've had that subscription for years. And the primary reason I got that subscription was so that I could lock my phone and still listen to YouTube. Because I listen to like probably 80% of the videos I watch, I actually listen to. My tea string is falling in my tea. So I have that. And so I never see ads ever. But yeah, I don't want to watch ads. I want to watch the thing I want to watch. To me, it's worth it. $15 a month to not have to watch ads, worth it. One of the things I hate about Amazon Prime. So if you have Amazon Prime, Amazon has a bunch of videos and stuff, and you can watch videos on Amazon as well. But many of them have ads on them. They have commercials, the old-fashioned commercials. And I swear there's so many times that like I want to watch a movie on Amazon, but it has commercials on it, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm not doing this. And I just go watch something on Netflix. And Amazon has this like upsell, I think, where you can go ad-free, but it's like, dude, I'm already paying you $18 a month for my Prime subscription, and now you want more money so that I can watch it without ads on it? No, I'm just gonna go to YouTube, or I'm gonna go to Netflix. I can actually throw this away because you don't need to steep your tea for more than a few minutes anyway, so this is pointless. I can go to Netflix. I have an HBO Max, whatever they're calling themselves nowadays. They keep changing their name. I have one of those subscriptions, so I could watch something there if I want, but I'm not giving Amazon any more stinking money, not that there aren't that many good movies on Amazon anyway, and they want to paywall me. It's like, no, you guys suck. I can't watch Critical Role. I can't. I've tried. I can't do it. Season 1 was tolerable, but they just have totally gone filthy potty mouth. F-bomb. Every other sentence is an F-bomb. And it's like, come on, guys, give me a break. Act like adults, not children who just discovered the F word, you know. So that's not my cup. That's not my cup of tea. Now, season 1 was tolerable because they weren't doing that quite as much, you know. But I tried to watch it recently. By recently, I mean several months ago, 6+ months ago. And I was like, this is unwatchable. This is unwatchable content. They're like little children who just discovered the F word. And they're like, oh my gosh, I can say the F word now. And they're just throwing it in every sentence. It's like, nah, let's grow up, guys. So I can't do that stuff. Tashio is in the chat. What up, dude? Welcome. No Linguistator, you are inactive. Sarita Custis, you are inactive. Nicole Moon has still not come back. Real Ghost Stories, you are not active. You got to come back. And Andrew Torres, you're not active either, man. What are you doing, buddy? Come on, get back in chat. Let's go. I'm going to call everybody out. If you're inactive, you get called out. Rachel, I can see now. Rachel, that's the thing that I can I'm okay with that. Like, if I'm watching a movie or something, and every so often there is like a little tiny bit of adult language to emphasize something, or it's just like, you know, hey, people talk that way, so okay, it's gonna be there every so often. Whatever, you know, I'm not gonna. That's tolerable, you know. But even though I would prefer my movies and stuff to have no adult language, it'd be my preference. But if there's a little bit here and there for emphasis or whatever, okay, tolerable, understandable, you know. But when you're acting like a 12-year-old whose parents aren't home and you are just throwing around the F-bomb, you know what I mean? Just because, like, look at us, you know, we just discovered this word and our parents aren't home. No, man. No, dude. That's just childish, immature behavior, you know, and it doesn't add anything to the entertainment value. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think that's just trashy. And there's a lot of people, and the stupid thing is that it like gates a lot of people out of watching that content because, you know, this is irony, right? But there are a lot of people who are okay with that sort of entertainment content, but they don't want their children to hear it, which is just mind-boggling. Like, if you know it's wrong and bad, and you don't want your children to hear it, but you expose yourself to it all the time, I don't get that. That doesn't make sense to me. If it's wrong and bad, then shouldn't it just be generally avoided? I don't know. But anyway, point is that, you know, they don't want their children to hear it and stuff, so like they can't watch it, or they have to put, you know, they have to whatever, you know, because they don't want to expose their kids to it, you know. And who would want to expose your kids to that kind of stuff? So all right, we should probably go to a different topic. I've probably said enough. Platinum Pioneers, what DM screen do you have? Well, I mean, I have the Shadow Dark DM screen for my Shadow Dark games, and that's pretty useful. So let me give you a. So I like the Shadow Dark screen, but I have a nitpick. It's actually a pretty big nitpick. It's a pretty severe nitpick. So the screen, generally speaking, is pretty good. Well, no, there's a lot of crap on here I don't need. I would say this entire panel is worthless to me. I don't need this. Syllables by name. I'm just not going to use that. Probably. I might. I'm probably not going to use it. This panel right here is useful. Right here, I got some of this stuff. It's kind of useful. This right here is kind of useful, except that I prepare all this before my game. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I probably only need half, if that, of what's on here for reference material. But that might just be my own personal style. But the thing that I want to be on here that's not on here, that just boggles my mind, is the difficulty class stuff. And the easy DC is 9, a normal is 12, a hard is 15, and an extreme is 18. Like, thankfully, it's the very front of the book for easy reference, and I can just open this up. But like, I run 3 different game systems, so you'd be like, Luke, it's easy to remember. 9, 12, 15, 18. It's not hard, Luke. Come on. Fair, but I run 3 different game systems, and we're designing our own game system right now. So like, rules and numbers are just kind of like in my head. So like, that's the sort of thing that I want to have on the screen, you know. And let us say with certain online tools, there are reference information such as names by syllable, and characteristics of NPCs and occupations that are completely deprecated because of online tools that will help you figure that stuff out in a blink of an eye. A blink of an eye. There was definitely some room for improvement on the Shadow Dark screen. The game, I love the game. Love the game. Play it. It's my favorite game. Right now I play a D&D 5th edition game. I play a Pathfinder 2 game. And I should say I run them. I am the game master for them. Pathfinder 2, D&D 5e, and a Shadow Dark game. And hands down, my favorite game of all of those is my Shadow Dark game. Hands down. So much fun. I think in part it has to do with the game system. In part it has to do with the adventures that I'm designing and running. I just love them. They're tons of fun. And the players are just crazy awesome. You know, I love my players. I would say all of my players that I have in all my games are really, really cool, you know, generally speaking. Except for that one guy, and you know who I'm talking about, and I'm just messing with you. But my Shadow Dark players, it's crazy. This is like why I say that like players make the caliber of your players make such a difference in how much fun a game is. Because like, just case in point, you know, I'll show up to like one of my games, you know, and a lot of times I'm tired. A lot of times I'm really busy, and I didn't have time to prepare for the game adequately, maybe, and I feel a little bit like underprepared, so I'm going to have to improvise more than normal or something, or I didn't have time to complete the adventure, and so sometimes I'll show up to my game sessions and I'm just kind of like, ugh, you know. And then the players will be chatting and they're all excited, and there's this contagious atmosphere. Like, and this happened to me especially in my last Shadow Dark game. This was like a couple Sundays ago, and I was just kind of feeling like down a little bit, kind of a little discouraged or whatever. I was not inspired that day, let us say. And so I showed up to that game, and then I came into chat, and my players are all there, and they're just like, woo! They're just all, I mean, they were talking about, I don't know what they were talking about, but they were all excited about something. And like, that atmosphere was so contagious, and I could feel immediately that my attitude and my spirits were like, and then all of a sudden I was like, all right, let's go. And then we had an awesome game session. And so it was just, so that's why I say, and I've said this before, you know, that players are huge in contributing to the fun of a game, you know. And furthermore, like a lot of game masters will talk about burnout, you know, and like not feeling inspired to run the game or something. And so like one of the first things that I'll think of is like, well, how are your players? You know, do your players contribute, or are they just kind of like, or is it you plodding along and dragging them with you? You know, so because like players can contribute to burnout, and sure, you can have problem players, you know, that are bringing your game down and causing problems, but you can also just have like, you know, mediocre so-so players that just are kind of like, you're kind of like, well, you know, they're not causing problems, but man, they're just kind of along for the ride too. You know what I mean? So, I don't know where I'm going with this, but there's just some like random thoughts I had on players and that kind of stuff. And I guess talking about Shadow Dark kind of like reminded me of that and stuff. So, but anyway, there's some words for you. You figure it out. Is the screen tall enough? Oh, I don't really care about the height of a screen. The Shadow Dark screen, it's as tall as the book. I think the book is 9 inches tall. So it's like 9 inches tall or so. It's tall enough. You gotta understand, when I use a Game Master screen, I'm not trying to hide anything. The only thing I don't want players to easily be able to see are my notes for the adventure and the monster cards I use. I don't want them to see the monsters. You know, but I'm not trying to hide my dice rolls. Like, so you know what I mean? And in fact, usually there's a player close enough to me in my in-person games, at least, where they can see my dice. And if you ever watch my Pathfinder 2 games, it's on my other YouTube channel, the DM Lair streams, or the DM Lair plays, or whatever it's called. A lot of times when I roll really well, or I get a nat 20 or something, usually Joe sits right to my right, and I'll be like, Joe, look. And he'll be like, no, I don't want to. That's funny. Yeah, the Shadow Dark art is cool. All right, totally. What did you do, Max Blaze? Max says, sorry, Luke, I won't do that again. I don't even know what you did. What did you do? Suzanne says, question, minis for Feybound. Have you considered partnering with a designer to create some STL for some major NPCs, monsters, or bosses? No, we haven't really thought about it. I should actually, here we are 45 minutes into the live stream, and I haven't even plugged our Kickstarter that's going on right now. So we have a Kickstarter going on, our Feybound Kickstarter. We have over 1,800 backers. We're closing in on 2,000 backers, which is pretty decent, and not too shabby. And we're bringing you Fey themed. Everything is Fey themed, right? New races, new subclasses, monsters, Fey mechanics such as contracts, true names, curses, boons, banes. Magic items, a full campaign setting with 4 unique Fey courts. Super, super cool. I love the Fey courts that we designed. And then a 12-part adventure arc that I written. These are 12 full-length adventures. Okay. It'll take your average group. I've been running this adventure arc with my group for, how long have we been playing? Are any of my players here? I think we've been playing for at least 6 months or so. Somewhere around that. And I got to tell you, it's probably going to take us a couple years to finish this, you know? So there's a lot of content in there. So anyway, you can go learn more about Feybound over here. There's a link down in the description, in the pinned comment, if you're watching this after we air. And you can go, learn more, pledge. I have 2 alerts. Oh no, I have 2 alerts on my project. What's the problem? Oh, okay. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. It's so weird. I got totally distracted. Adam the D&D guy's cheating, typing in to stay active. Oh, that's cheating. Wait, what did Suzanne ask again? Oh yeah, STLs and stuff. No, we're not doing that. We found early on with our Kickstarter projects that all those little extra bling stuff, like miniatures or STL files or t-shirts or dice, all of those things, like I have a small team, right? It's me and I have 1 full-time employee, and then we have contractors that do a lot of other stuff, artists and all that kind of stuff, right? But they're all contractors, right? So we have a very small team, and there's only so much we can do. So if we do all those little special things like, oh, we're going to do dice, and we're going to do STLs, and we're going to do plushies. Oh, we're going to give you a big Fey-bound plushie of the Queen Below. I'm knocking stuff over my desk. If we give you all that stuff, well, that means that the core book of Feybound, we're not going to have as much time to dedicate to making that book as awesome as possible, because we're going to have to spend time figuring out STL files and working with a designer. And even if you partner with somebody who's going to design it all yourself, you don't understand. There's a lot of overhead, a lot of back and forth. There's communication overhead is what we call it. There's communication overhead. You have to explain to them what you want to see. You have to send them a reference image, right, that your artist created. Then you have to review what they're doing. And then if it's an STL file, you should be printing it off yourself to confirm that it works yourself, in my personal opinion. I don't have a 3D printer. I've never used one. I don't think Zach, the guy who works for me, has one. So it's kind of like, would you just accept it and just trust for it to work? You know, same thing with dice. You know, there's this communication overhead. There's this review process where you have to make sure that these parts of your project are very high quality, right? Which means you're spending time doing that stuff, and you don't have that time to work on the core product, the book that everybody wants, right? So if we had a big, huge team of multiple employees or whatever it takes, you know, sure, we could do all those fun little things, you know. But here's the other thing too that I found. So not only does it take your time away from the core product because you're doing all these little other fun little things, right? Not that many people buy those fun little things like STLs or t-shirts or plushies or dice. There aren't that many people that get those. And so, which means you don't sell that many, which means you don't make a lot of money from them. So here you are making your core product inferior to what it could have been because you're spending time on those things. And those things don't even drive the bottom line that much. And so from a quality to customer standpoint, you know, giving the highest quality to the customer possible in the main product, the book, and from a simple, I'm running a business and we need to make profit because I have lots of bills to pay. I have payroll to make. I have contractors and artists I got to pay. Just from the standpoint, so quality to customer and I'm running a business and I have responsibilities, right? Big boy pants. From those two perspectives, all those little bling bling things, we have found, for us at least, that they do not work. They're not worth it at all. Now, other companies varies, right? Maybe it does actually drive their bottom line. Maybe they do get a good ROI on it. I don't know. I don't have the behind the scenes stuff. It's possible that it does. It's also possible that they do it because it's expected. We are a big third-party publisher, you know. It's expected that we have a plushie. It's expected that we have STL files and minis. All of these things are expected because we are who we are. Therefore, we have to do it, even though it's possible that behind the scenes, if you look at their books, those things actually cost them money. And they don't actually contribute to like being able to pay their bills and pay the people that work for them and all that kind of stuff. I don't know. I'm just purely hypothesizing at this point, right? But the possibility exists. But so anyway, because for us, it's never been worth it from an effort standpoint or from a financial standpoint. So that is your like, you know, hardcore. This is like, what do you want to say? Just total, complete transparency, honesty, truth. Like, this is why no, right? Because like, I feel like if you ask that to a lot of other people, they'd be like, that's a wonderful idea. I'm going to take that back to the team and we're going to think about that. And we're going to see if we can implement something like that. And then you'll never hear from them again. Because they know it's a no, right? But they're not going to tell you that, you know, because that's just how a lot of these stupid companies are. I work for one. I know how these morons talk. They've got their corporate speak, you know. Anytime you ask someone a question and they immediately respond with, that's a great question, you had better get your BS detector out. Like, pull out your BS detector and get it on your desk because they're about to give you a spin job. You know, the spin, the little like, this is the narrative. I'm going to spin and weave here a narrative for you because you just asked a question that I'd really wish you wouldn't have asked me. As soon as somebody says that's a great question, you know there's some horse crap about to come out of their mouth. You know it. You know it. Or have you ever I hear this a lot from young people, but they have this phrase where they say, I'm not gonna lie. That's another thing you key in on. If you got someone who's like not gonna lie, as soon as they say that, I'm automatically like, you're probably about to lie. Now, not always, right? But, you know, it's a lot of times it seems like that. It's kind of like if they claim they're not going to lie, but then they go on and lie, they're somehow going to fool me. Okay. Andrew Torres is like, as a young person, I can verify this is true. Yeah, but the thing is, okay, so Andrew, please do your due diligence, put forth your effort to spread to your fellow young people the idea that us old people aren't fooled by that horse crappery. Like, you know, especially not, okay, I see this a lot. I watch a lot of police videos and stuff. And I see this a lot from people who are getting in trouble with the police. They'll be like, I ain't gonna lie, I won't lie, and you know what I mean, or I'm telling you the truth, and it's like, you know, they're not, you know what I mean. They're like slobbering drunk, falling over. How many drinks have you had? Oh, nothing, you know, and they do the T-Rex thing, nothing, you know. So I don't know, man. It doesn't work. Old people, we're not fooled by that stuff, you know. At a certain point, you just don't have any tolerance for horse crappery. Orca says you are a pup. I hit 60 this week. Okay, I want everyone in chat, guess how old I am. I want you to type in chat and be honest. You know, don't try to make me feel good. I don't care. I'm a grumpy old man. I don't care about, you're not gonna make me feel good or feel bad. Put in chat how old you think I am. Let's see what people think. How old do you think I am? How old do you think I am? Just type in a number and throw it in chat. And let's see. You're not going to offend me. This isn't about stupid crap. It's just, I'm just curious what we got going on here. Because I was at church 2 weeks ago. And I was at church last week too. But 2 weeks ago when I was at church, I was talking to somebody and she was a college student. And I told her my age. You know, it came up organically in the conversation somehow. And she looked at me like she didn't believe me, you know. There's a lot of people that are really close. Really close. I have a feeling either you're really good at guessing my age, or you can do math and you know how, or somehow you've done math, or I've told you before. Because it's uncanny how many people are very close. Jacob, just guess your own age. Or you're really just good at guessing ages. Wow. That's pretty good. Adam, you're 11? Wow. See, Tashio's honest. He says you've mentioned it a few times before. Yeah, so people in chat have probably heard me say it before. Because there's lots of people, yeah, very close. T-Dog says I forget my age too. Yeah, I do too. Do you know the reason I can remember my age? I forget my age all the time. And this is what I do. I'll say, okay, Luke, you were born in 1980. That means in 2025, you take 25 and you add 20 to it and you get 45. Okay, I'm 45. And then I say, okay, when was my birthday? Okay, my birthday was this date. Are we before that date or after that date? If we're before that date, then I'm actually 1 year younger. If we're after that date, then that is my age. And so we are after that date in 2025. So I know that I am 45 years old. So that's how I do it. That's how I remember. I don't know how this works with most people, but I don't think of my age every day. It's not a normal thing to think of. You know, you just do your stuff. So I tend to forget because I don't know. I don't fixate on it. You know, I fixate on there are other numbers that are more important for me to fixate on. Oh, that could be a. Oh, Rachel's 45 too. Sweet. How many people? Ooh, how many people are in their 40s? Oh, we should do a thing. This might get me in trouble. Other numbers like armor class and damage. Yes, Adam, that's exactly what I was thinking about. Armor class and damage, yes. Max Blaze, well, thank you. You're 69. Yeah, I do work out as much as I can. I don't. Also, in a lot of the videos you see me in, like my normal videos, I'm wearing makeup too, because I have acne, and so sometimes I'll have a breakout and I have to like cover that crap up. But also, when you film videos, for anybody who does videos, you know this. You have so many lights shining on you. It's like just tons of lights. And if you have even a small amount of perspiration, which you usually do, I use LED lights. So they don't actually give off heat, but you still, when you're filming and stuff, you still are, you're pretty active. And so you might perspire just a little bit. And when you have that many lights on you, that little bit of perspiration, that little bit of sheen will just cause like glare and nasty stuff in the video. And so I'll put makeup on it cuts down on all of that shiny crap, Not always. There have been videos that I was a sweaty beast and there's nothing you could do about it. You're just like, it's hot. So and I'll tell you, when I put makeup on, it makes me look 10 years younger. It's crazy. It like evens out all, like I have little red spots in certain places, evens all that out, the wrinkles and stuff that you probably can't see them right now because my camera and lighting is not super great on my live streams, but it evens all that stuff out. It's all like, it is amazing how much younger makeup can make you look. It's bonkers. It's bonkers. Now it's like, now that I'm aware of the difference it makes, like I know that like they're like, when I see certain people that I know are wearing makeup, you don't look at their face to judge their age. You look at their neck to judge their age, because you might see someone who, it's usually females, right? Who like are all makeuped up, you know what I mean? And you can't tell how old they are. But then you look at the neck and you're like, okay, now we're getting an idea, It's harder to hide that crap, The hands. Oh, the hands. Okay, I'll have to pay attention to hands now. I'll have to pay attention to hands. That's interesting. Their forehead. Maybe it's Maybelline. It is. It totally is. Oh, yeah, I don't have too much gray in my beard. Yeah, I do. Like, when I grow, so like right now I'm shaved down pretty close. I shaved this down like a couple days ago, but it grows out. It always is. It's always growing out. Hair grows, right? And so when it's to the point where it needs to get shaved, you can definitely see lots of gray around this area, like for sure. It's very obvious. Rachel says, don't tell all our secrets. Mystic says, hands are the way I check. Oh, nose and ears also work. They keep growing. Oh, really? The ears keep getting bigger as you age? Is that a thing? Mage Tower says, if you calculate THATCO, then chances are you're 40 and older. I don't calculate THATCO. I started playing with D&D 2nd edition. Does anybody know offhand? 2nd edition, did that have THATCO? I don't think it did it? 2nd edition, I don't think had THATCO. I could be totally wrong. I don't know. Does anybody know offhand? It did? 2nd edition had THATCO? It did. Oh, okay. Well, then I grew up using THATCO and I don't even remember. That's how old I am. Oh, man. Mystics, don't just Google THATCO. You're not missing out on anything, man. Do I prefer fighting or magic in Dungeons and Dragons? I usually prefer melee classes because I don't like, one of the things that I don't like about games like D&D or Pathfinder 2 is that if you're a wizard or a mage, if you're a magic user, when you cast a spell, it's gone. Either the spell is gone, or the slot is gone. And I don't like that. As a player, I don't like it because this is the game that happens to me. If I'm a wizard and I know I have so many slots, I'm always trying to hoard my slots. I want to conserve my slots because I never know when I'm going to need them. So if a battle's happening, I'm always like, first round cantrip. Unless it's obvious that, holy crap, we need the web spell or a fireball or hypnotic pattern or something crazy. We gotta, because this is a nasty battle. Sometimes it's obvious that a battle's bad, but otherwise, you're just trying to conserve resources, because when you're out, you're out. So for context, the games that I play in, game masters, they don't allow you to long rest and get your crap back every time after a fight. In fact, if I were in a game like that, I would quit promptly because I think games like that are stupid and I would not have fun, right? That's just ridiculous. It's silly. But so the games I'm in, that's not a thing, right? You're going to get the long rest probably at the end of the adventure. So you need to make sure you get through that dungeon or that adventure without needing the long rest, which means that if you blow your wad and have no spells left, good luck, right? So I'm always wanting to conserve resources. And many times what that means is that I'm not contributing well to a fight, perhaps, or I might spend too many resources on a fight and then later I don't have them. And there's always this conflict, of like, should I cast it or not? Should I cast it or not? And I would much rather prefer a melee character who doesn't have that conflict. My damage output, my contribution is pretty steady. There are some things like second wind and whatever that are expendable resources that you don't get back, but you get them back after a short rest, whatever. So I usually prefer melees, and I usually prefer melees classes that don't even have expendable resources, such as the rogue. There are so many reasons the rogue is probably my favorite class in D&D. And that is one thing that contributes to the rogue. They don't have resources, they get expended. They can just do all of the cool stuff they can do always without having to do any short rest or long rest horse crappery. So rogues are awesome for very many reasons. DPS, utility, talkie, like, oh, they're so fun to play rogues. Rogues are amazing. They're the best class in the world. So I love rogues for so many reasons. So my point is this. I don't like the idea of wizards or spellcasters losing their ability to cast their spells, which is why I love Shadowdark so much. In Shadowdark, as long as you make your check, you can cast the same spell over and over and over and over again. Now, if you fail your check, you will lose the ability to cast that spell. Yes. But as long as you make your check, you can keep casting Magic Missile or whatever it is. You just keep casting it. And I love that. That makes spellcasters playable once. For once, they're playable, in my opinion. And this is another reason in the game system that I'm designing. And you're going to hear more about that probably at the beginning of next year or something. Or, well, my patrons will hear about it before then. But anyway, who cares? You'll hear about it eventually. But for the game system that I'm designing, and we figured out the name of it too. We're pretty sure we know what the name of our game system is going to be. Spellcasters don't lose the ability to cast spells. You don't lose your slots or you don't lose your spells or whatever. You can just keep using your magic. It's also it's a skill-based system, not a class-based system. So you can literally, there's going to be a list of abilities and stuff, and you get, there are rules and stuff. You can't just do everything, but you get to pick a certain number of those, and then you can essentially customize your character to kind of be whatever you want it to be, fit whatever role you want it to fit. And that's the game that I've always wanted to play. At least recently, I've had a really big hankering for that sort of thing. And so our game system, that's what it's going to be. Skill based. You can literally you can wield a sword or whatever type of weapon you want, and you can cast spells. You could literally have a big two-handed great axe in one hand, a massive axe in one hand, and then you can have some sort of mind control magic that will allow you to cause an enemy to fight for you or something, or you could raise something from the dead, and have a zombie that fights alongside you while you're really good at the axe. Just like the options are limitless. You know what I mean? And that's what we're designing. Now, I think we're gonna have fun trying to balance that, because the more combinations and the more things people can do and stuff, that's where things get sloppy, right? And things can get tough. So our work is gonna be cut out for us insofar as like the game balancing is gonna be. I think that's gonna be the biggest challenge with designing a system like that, in my personal opinion. But we already have the core system. We did a play test a week ago where we played through several combats, and it worked really well. Combats were lightning fast. Oh, it was so awesome. After playing like D&D 5e and Pathfinder 2, where combats take forever, to play through a combat where it's just like boom, 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 it was really cool. And hard combats, like challenging ones, were fast, and easy ones were fast. Because what you find in games like D&D and Pathfinder 2 is that if the combat is really easy, trivial, then it's over fast. But if it's a challenging combat, it can take an hour, 2 hours. It depends on what your level is. The higher the level you are, the longer the combat usually takes, right? And so we were finding that it didn't matter if it was a really hard combat or an easy combat. They went quickly. And so it maintained this very fast pace, which was really cool. I really liked that. And we have a new, we also came up with a new initiative system called Cornered Rats that I'm really excited about. So that's going to be really cool. And our goal is for those of you who are like, Luke, tell us more, please. So our goal is in January, we're going to be releasing the alpha for our game system to our patrons. So I have a Patreon, right? There's probably a link in the description of this video, of this live stream, to my Patreon. But in January, we're going to be giving the alpha of our game system to our patrons to start playing, right? And then we'll keep on building onto the rules, and we'll keep play testing, and we'll keep like tweaking things and doing all of that. And that'll be next year. 2026 is going to be rolling out the alpha of our game system to our patrons, and then they can start tweaking it and playing with it and stuff like that. And then we'll continue working on that game system, you know what I mean, and developing it and stuff. And then the plan right now, and this is off into the future, and so this is just kind of like, this number sounds good, kind of like high level planning. Probably in 2027, after like a solid year of play testing and development, right, we'll probably be able to do a Kickstarter for it, and then actually put it into a book format, and then everybody can have the game system in book. So that's kind of like our high level development plans right now for our game system and what we're working on. So, but patrons are going to get the first snap at it, the first shot at it. They're going to get the alpha and be able to start playing around with that and stuff. So, but that'll be fun. I'm really excited. We have some really cool ideas, some really cool things that we're doing that are really exciting to me. So yeah, I'm pretty stoked about it. All right, I need to get some more tea. My tea is getting empty here. Which patron levels? I mean, I think the base Patreon tier will get the alpha. We'll get access to it. So our Patreon starts out at $15. So if you come in at $15, you'll get the alpha and you'll be able to start playing. And we're also going to be giving you adventures every single month for our game system. Every single month, what we're going to be doing next year is you're going to be getting adventures. You're going to get 3 adventures and monsters for our game system. So during 2026, as we develop the game system, as we build upon it, right, and play test it and refine it, every single month we're going to be giving you 3 adventures that you can play with our game system, and a bunch of monsters as well that you can use with the game system. And so the game system over the course of 2026, it's going to be building up. We're going to be building the rules, the mechanics of the game system, play testing, refining, and that sort of thing. But also we're building out adventures that you can play. We're building out monsters that you can use, right? We're giving you a complete system, right? Because some people do like new game systems, but all they really have are the rule sets. They don't have adventures for you to play, or monsters for you to use. They just have like the rule mechanics and stuff. And then you're kind of like, what do I do with this? Good question. That's a great question. What do you do with this? So our goal is 2026, beginning in January, we're giving you everything you need to start playing our game. The rules, the adventures, the monsters, rock and roll. And then you can literally just, the patrons will get that stuff, and you can literally just get that. And then you can take that. And by the way, we're designing our adventures in a different way that's going to be very, very easy for you to like just print that sucker off, literally spend 5 minutes reading it, and then you can play the game. This is one of the things that I'm really excited about with our game system, and this is one of the things I'm really pushing toward, is that I want, this is one of my visions for our game system, and for the resources we're going to give you in Lair Magazine next year, and we're not calling it Lair Magazine. It's going to have a different name next year. I'm not going to say the name. We just decided the name. I want to tease that a little bit. But anyway, one of the things I'm really excited about is we are designing this so that it is very easy and fast for game masters to prep their games, and this is something that because I have to prep right now. Right now I do prep for a D&D 5e game, a Pathfinder 2e game, and a Shadow Dark game. And I have like thoughts and ideas of why some game systems take a lot longer to prep for and why other game systems are easier to prep for. And so we're designing ours with that in mind, right? And we're writing our adventures such that prep is a breeze, because I have also written and designed adventures a wide variety of ways for my own personal games. There are different ways that I've written my adventures for my own personal games. And so I have an idea of things that make prep easier and things that make prep a burden on you. Okay. And so, that's kind of one of the things we're trying to do too, is we're trying to reduce the amount of game master prep that someone has to do to actually run a game, because we know people are busy. People are like, oh, I don't want to prep. I just want to go play the game with my friends. You know what I mean? And so that's one of our goals too. We want to reduce that prep and make things easier for you. So I'm excited for some of the stuff we're going to be doing, so it's cool. I'm excited. Pet the cat. Here's a nice butt shot for you. There you go. I need to get some tea. Here, watch this fine video. One of the things that really annoys me about Kickstarters? Stretch goals. Look, we all know they are a scam. 95% of all projects literally have the stretch goal content completed before they even launch. And then they manipulate the stretch goal targets based on project velocity or past project performance to ensure they hit them all. It's all a song and a dance, and it's stupid. That's why for my next Kickstarter, Feybound, Trickery of the Wilds, we're not doing any of that crap. This is going to be the biggest, baddest Fey-themed expansion for D&D 5e ever created. No stretch goals, no bullcrap. We've already crammed everything we can into it. A sprawling Fey campaign setting, 6 vibrant new player races, 10 wildly creative subclasses, a treasure trove of magic items, dynamic Fey gameplay mechanics, over 100 twisted and unforgettable monsters, and Escape from the Fey, a level 5 to 11 adventure module featuring 12 full-length story-rich adventures. So if you want to get everything you need to bring the chaos, whimsy, and wilds of the Fey to life in your games, follow Feybound, Trickery of the Wilds on Kickstarter right now. We launch soon, and we'll have early backer specials for just the first few days only that you won't want to miss. Oh, that's like one of my coming soon videos. I should have switched that to the live video. I have a version of that video where it says it's live now, because we are literally live now. Like you can come over here and learn more about Feybound. There's a link down in the description. Because it is live. We're about halfway through our campaign now, and we have over 1,800 backers. We're closing in on 2,000 backers, so it's doing super well. I'm very happy. I'm very pleased. So you can go learn more. We're giving you a whole bunch of cool crap. You'll love it. You'll love it. You just watch the video. You know what we're giving you. All right. You got a problem? Huh? You got a problem over here? All right. If you asked the question and I did not answer it, you're welcome to paste it again, copy paste it again, post it again so that I can get it. Yeah. Well, somebody in chat told me to pet you because you deserve it. So that's what's happening right now. Yeah. That's right. Yeah, I know. Right into the microphone. Do that right into the microphone. There you go. Yeah, give him a butt shot. There you go. Good job. You can always rely on cats for certain things. Puking on the floor, backing their butt up to the camera. Cats are dependable. They're dependable animals. There you go. Good job. Dordiub, hello. What up, dude? Yeah, I know. How's it going, buddy? It's good to see you. We are earlier today. Yeah. Cool. Quest masters working on their own game. Yeah, a lot of people work on their own games. Orcus Maximus says, I'm not sure if you got this idea. Kickstarter a book with charts to make random a magic item on the fly. We're not going to do that. I'm going to tell you honestly why we're not going to do that. There are online tools that people can use that will do that in the blink of an eye by entering a prompt in. And a project like that is probably doomed to failure, because why are you going to pay for that when you can, get an online tool that will do it like that and customize it for you without any of the hoopla. Tables and charts like that they're going the way of the dinosaur, folks. They're not going to be around much longer. They're not. That's the honest truth. Whether you like it or not, whether you support it or not, the truth is the truth, and facts don't care about your feelings. So, yeah. All right, get your butt out of the way. Oh yeah, we are doing a giveaway today. We're gonna give $50 DM Lair store credit to a winner on the stream today, and all you have to do to win is just be here, present, active in the stream when I draw the winner. And if you're here when I draw the winner, then Nightbot is going to choose from active participants, and you're gonna win. And so we have a whole bunch of people in stream, and there are a whole bunch of people who are inactive. I am now going to do the call of shame, and I'm going to name off everyone who is not active, who needs to come back to the stream right now to maintain your activity levels. Otherwise, you will get shamed over and over again in this stream. Brent Norton, Tim, Jacob Cobberholm, Eric Lorenzen, Driving and Dragons, Nick C., characters in a foreign language that I do not read or know, Rusty Jedi, Joe R., Thorarin, Electron Zap, Max Blaze, Platinum Pioneers, Tashio. Actually, Tashio, I think you're the wrong user level. So it's not going to give it to you because you're a moderator. Sorry, buddy. Suzanne, Dissoon, Matthew Kevin, Nolinquistor, Sorintha, Mystics. Mystics is gone again? Didn't I shame you already, Mystics? Nicole Moon, Dime Time. We talked about this too. Nicole Moon has been gone the whole stream. I'm upset with Nicole right now. Not gonna lie. That's stupid. I don't give a flying crap. I'm just playing around, guys. Kelton Ritchie, Nathan, this stupid piece of junk. That's everybody in the call of shame right there. There is no giveaway link. All you have to do is be present in chat, and then it's going to draw a winner, and then I'm going to announce the winner, and then the winner is on the honor system going to email me and say, Luke, I won. And if you cheat and I have like 5 people who are like, Luke, I won, well, then I'll just have to track you down, and we'll have to, like, I don't know, torture the truth out of you or something. I don't know. We'll figure it out. If you break the system, if you cheat, then that's why we can't have good things. So just, be honest. Don't be a turd. Elise Tuck, hello. First time joining a stream. Welcome to the stream. Yeah, you have to not be a moderator. Sorry, Tashio. Yeah, I'm gonna zing you. I'm gonna zing you because you're a moderator. Jennifer, hello. What up, Jennifer? Dime Time came back. You see, I do the call of shame. And people come back. It is crazy. Mystic says, I'm not even tabbed out this time. I don't know what to tell you. You were inactive. Like, I don't know what was going on, buddy, but it told me you were inactive. So it's like, it's not gonna lie to me. It's just a machine. Machines do what you tell them to do. That's how machines work. All right, enough screwing around. All right, questions. Let's see. Kick Your Butt Gaming. Hey, what up? Question. Newer DM, group of 2 players. Got it. How can I get them to be creative as a DM without railroading? That's an oxymoron in your question. Have you ever had players prefer to be railroaded? Yeah, dude, some players want to be railroaded. And that's fine. Some players just want you to tell them where to go and what to do, right? And they feel better that way. You know, dude, it's video games. You know, a lot of video games are railroads. They just tell you what your next thing to do is, and you got to go do it. And there's nothing wrong with that. You know, if your players want that, there's nothing wrong with it. You can literally just say, hey guys, the next step is to go do this thing. You know, like for instance, in my Shadow Dark game, like the players, we're kind of doing kind of like a West Marches where the players can tell me what they want to do. You know. And they literally told me there's this rift in the world that's letting monsters into the world. And they're like, we want to close the rift. That is our goal. For this campaign, we want to work on closing the rift. That's what they told me they wanted to do. Okay, cool. We're going to do that. I'm going to make a campaign where you guys are going to close the rift. And those are my parameters. So within those parameters, I'm doing a whole bunch of cool stuff, right? And so it turns out there are 6 tablets that they have to get. There are these 6 tablets that they have to get because there is this. So the Pantheon created the world, but there is this other entity, this older entity, older than the Pantheon itself, who is responsible for the rift opening, right? And these 6 tablets have the magic in them that keeps the rift open, right? And so they have to go get these tablets, and then it's more complicated than this, but essentially they have to destroy the tablets, right? And then the rift will close. That's the main idea. And so they have to get the tablets. And so in our last Shadow Dark game, they literally got the first tablet, and then they used downtime, and they spent I think they spent several months of downtime researching the tablet, studying the tablet, and getting as much information from this tablet as they could. And they discovered this idea that there's this elder entity that pre-existed the Pantheon that does not like what's going on, and they opened the rift, and you got to get 6 tablets, right? I think it was 6. I'm pretty sure it was 6. I could have that number wrong. And so now they got the first tablet, and the way these tablets work, convenience, is the tablets have this resonance. Each tablet has a resonance with another tablet. So if you have one tablet, you can tell the general location of the next tablet. Convenient plot device so that my players can actually track down the tablets. Okay, yeah, sure, that's what I'm doing here, right? But they got to have a way to find the tablets besides wandering the world and hoping. So I'm like, yeah, the tablets all have magic that works together to keep the rift open. So there's a resonance between them, and you can follow that magical resonance to find the next tablet. Okay, yeah. And so at the end of the last game session, I told them, I was like, okay, guys, this resonance tells you that the next tablet is over in this area of the world. There's this city that floats on a mountain, basically, and it's in that area of the world. And so they know where to go next to get the next tablet, and they know what they need to do. They need to get the tablet. And I told them that this elder being's followers, his clergy, shall we say, they hid all of the tablets in these dungeons, in these dangerous places where monsters would protect the tablets. So they know that when they get there, there's going to be a dungeon with baddies in it that they're going to have to get through to get the tablet, right? And so you could say, Luke, that's railroading. And I'm like, I mean, sure, if that's what you consider railroading, yeah, it's kind of railroading, you know. But that's what my players wanted to do. They want to close the rift, and I created some adventures for them to close the rift, you know. And I'm telling them literally what they got to do, you know, to accomplish their objectives. But the interesting thing is that I know that I have like a I'm like hooking them and I'm pulling them in that certain direction. So what I did at the end of our last game session, I'm very self-aware and cognizant of that stuff, right? And so I literally told them, hey guys, I am aware that I just literally gave you a plot hook to go do this thing over here, right? And that it's going to help close the rift, right? However, remember, this is kind of a West Marches type of game. So if you guys want to do something different, if you want to do a side adventure or you have some other interest you want to pursue and you want to take a break from getting these tablets and closing the rift, just let me know. Just tell me, and then I will make a different adventure for you, okay? Now, give me enough, you got to tell me in advance so that I can do it, so that I have time to do it. But if you tell me, then I will do the thing, because I don't want you to feel like you're constrained and only doing the things that I'm telling you to do, right? Because I want my players to have that sort of freedom, and so they have that option, and then they were just like, no, it's cool, we'll go to that dungeon. Let's get the tablet. Like closing this rift is the most important thing in the world right now. Monsters are pouring forth. So yeah, we're gonna go get the tablet, right? But I was very pointed and deliberate about letting my players know that you are free to choose your own adventure if you want to. Just give me enough advance notice so that I can go create the thing that you all want to do as a group, right? So my point is this. So we always elevate the idea of the sandbox, right? We always say that the sandbox is the ultimate, right? The sandbox is the supreme thing. Players being able to do anything they want and go anywhere they want to do and do the thing is like the ultimate end-all be-all to running an amazing Dungeons and Dragons game, or in this case, it's a Shadow Dark game, right? And we elevate that and we romanticize it, and people on Reddit will wane, and they'll write like sonnets to it and all this kind of crap. But at the end of the day, not all players are the same, and some players love being railroaded. They just want you to tell them what to do. Other players love the freedom and wandering around. Other players hate that crap. There's a tons of different types of players. So if your players are more comfortable being railroaded, then do it. If your players love the freedom, then do it. And maybe it's a mix of things, It's a mix of things. So that's how I tend to run my games to a certain extent. My players know they can go do other stuff if they want to. They just have to tell me in advance to go do the thing, and then I'll prepare for them, and then we'll play the game, and then they'll have fun. But don't feel bad. Don't feel bad if you are railroading, to a certain extent. And remember. Remember that railroading isn't actually what you think it is. Most people think that railroading is having an adventure over here, a thing for players to do, and then expecting them to go do that thing. That's not technically railroading, right? That's just like having a linear campaign or linear adventures where one adventure leads to another. That's not technically railroading. And if it is, then every single published module ever almost is a railroad, because almost every published module these days has an adventure path where they expect players to go in a certain way. Every single one does. And if you tell me they don't, like if you're like, well, Curse of Strahd is written as a sandbox, and you can go wherever you want type of thing, or Princes of the Apocalypse is a sandbox, I will say to you, well, guess what? If you come into Curse of Strahd, into Barovia as a level 3 character, and you go directly to Strahd's castle and fight him, as you should be able to do in a true sandbox, what's going to happen? Well, you're going to die. Yeah, why? Well, because Strahd's castle is designed for level 8 characters, roughly, and you're only level 3. Yeah, so is that actually a sandbox? I guess not. You have the option of going there, but if you do, you're screwed. So is that a sandbox? No, not really. Exactly. It's not a sandbox because the different parts of Barovia are designed for different level characters. And if you go into the wrong place, you're going to get your butt whooped. That's not a sandbox, right? I mean, I guess technically you could say that it is, but is that going to be a fun game to play? Nah, probably not. So I don't think that's a true sandbox. A true sandbox should be you can go anywhere and do anything, and still have fun and not just die in 10 seconds because that area was too dangerous for you, And that's a harder thing to accomplish, right? And the best way to implement that, again, is to just your players tell you in advance where they want to go and what they want to do, and then you make that adventure, and then everything is they do the thing, and you design it, and everybody's happy. I ran Princes of the Apocalypse for half a year or so for a group. And the way Princes of the Apocalypse is designed for D&D 5th edition is abysmal. And I've ranted on the design of the adventures before. So there's like 4 dungeons. And the way it's designed is you're supposed to do level 1 of this dungeon, leave, do level 1 of this dungeon, leave, do level 1 of this other dungeon here, leave, do level 1 of this dungeon here, leave. Go back to the first dungeon, do level 2, leave, level 2, leave, level 2, leave, level 2, level 3. So you're supposed to just do 1 level and then leave, go to the next dungeon, 1 level and leave, and just kind of rinse and repeat. It's insanity. People don't play games that way. And so as a game master, if you don't put a hook in their mouth and pull them and give them heavy clues, or do something like have magical locks that don't let them go any deeper, and they have to find the magical key somewhere else, which is not in the adventure module at all. So if you don't give them heavy clues as to what they're supposed to do exactly and guide them, your players might be ultimately frustrated, which is exactly what happened to my players when I was running Prince of the Apocalypse. One of my players, Aaron, was just like, Luke, I'm frustrated right now. We keep going into dungeons that are too hard for us because this is like a sandbox. We can do whatever. And we keep getting our butts kicked. Please just tell us where we're supposed to go. This is too frustrating for me, And I'm like, I'm sorry, I got crap in my throat. I told my other players, I was like, what do you guys think? Do you guys kind of feel the same way? And they're all just like, just tell us where to go. This module was designed by I don't know who this was designed by. Insert derogatory word, against the person who designed this module. Please tell us where we're supposed to go next. And so then I started telling them that this is how it was designed and this is where we're supposed to go. And they were like, thank you. That's great. And they were happy. So, yeah, don't feel bad if you railroad and your players like it. All right. All right, we're back to answering questions now. I had to do the mini rant. Sarita says that adventure design is why it takes so long to prep for 5e games. You have to rearrange so much in a lot of the modules. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. This is it's the downfall of modules. It's hard. I make modules. I write modules. My Feybound Kickstarter contains part of Feybound is a 12 adventure module. It's a campaign. That's part of our Kickstarter is giving you a module in there. And it is the difficulty of writing a module, writing adventures when you don't know who the players are going to be, who their characters are going to be, who the game master is going to be. You don't know what their play preferences are. You don't know if they build super powerful characters, if they build weaker characters. You know nothing about your target audience except that they're playing D&D and they start at this level and they're probably going to end at this level. That's all you know. And you have to write a module for that. That is no easy thing to do, right? Because I've done it twice now. I wrote Into the Fae,
And then we made Escape from the Fae, which is the module that's included with Feybound, right? And I wrote Escape from the Fae. I wrote that too. So the two modules, I wrote them, you know? And you're writing in the dark, dude. You just like, you have certain parameters and things, and it's like, well, yeah, okay, boop, 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 boop. But, and this is a beautiful case in point. Like, I am running Escape from the Fae right now for my D&D 5e group, my patrons who play with me. And let me tell you, sometimes, and you all know this, everyone who's been a game master who doesn't just sit on Reddit and like nerd out and type but never play the game, right? Everyone who's been a game master, everyone who's actually been a player in a game knows that so many times players decide to do something that is completely unexpected, out of there, right? And then if you're running a module, they decide to do something that the module didn't account for, could not possibly account for. Can you imagine, game masters, imagine what a module would be like if it anticipated, expected, and wrote for every single eventuality. If your players do this, then this. If this, then this. If this, then this. If this, then this. Your decision chart, you know, your branches of this, like, you know, decision tree would be like thousands and thousands of pages. A module like that would be unusable. And so you have to write it in a certain way that you're like not going to have a 1,000 bajillion page long module that's unusable, right? But the consequence of that is that players are going to do things that the module can't account for. My players right now, they are in an adventure called Sanctioned Insurrection, and there's essentially a castle that is there are a bunch of soldiers in it. They're called Gearnaw. They're cybernetic beavers. Okay, they're cybernetic beavers. And these Gearnaw are in that castle, right? And their goal is essentially, there's a bunch of elves that are being held captive, and they want to rescue the elves, and they also want to defeat these Gearnaw. The leader of the Gearnaw is called the Architect, and they want to defeat the Architect. But there's all these soldiers in a fortified castle, you know, I mean, it's like, what are we going to do here? And so they have literally, I had like a happy path scenario of things they might do, right? They didn't do any of that. They tricked the Architect and his guard and a significant part of his army to go off somewhere else where there was an arranged meeting between the Architect and the heroes, right? The players and the Architect were going to meet to talk things over outside of the castle on neutral ground, right? And so my players, there was an emissary that came to them, and they came up with this agreement, and the emissary went back, and then they kept an eye on the castle, and they saw the Architect and a large number of his soldiers leaving, okay, to go to this meeting. And I'm all like, okay, we're going to have this meeting, and I'm like planning like what we're going to do. And then my players are like, now we're going to the castle and storming the castle. And I'm just like, that wasn't in what I wrote. That wasn't part of what I expected. I did not think that they would figure out a really good way to get the Architect to leave the castle to meet them with a good part of his army and then go into the castle. You know what I mean? You know? And so I'm like, didn't expect that. Did not expect that. And so now they're in the castle with minimal soldiers in there. Okay, and they are poised beautifully to accomplish their objective. And it was beautiful. And this is after, by the way, after a couple game sessions of fighting these cybernetic beaver soldiers. And not every battle was super hard, but they weren't super easy either. And so now they're in a really good position, you know, and we'll see what happens. We'll see what they do, you know, but you can't anticipate that. You can't think possibly that they're going to do something like that. And it's super clever and intelligent, you know, and that's what I mean by before when I was talking about like my players knew what their objective was in that castle and what they had to do, right? But how they go about accomplishing that, who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? Who knows? And so it's not a railroad because how they accomplish their objective is totally open-ended. And I just roll with it and I do whatever, you know? And so, yeah, I think I was answering someone's question. I forgot what the question was.
Do you have any tips for SCOR, writing adventure? I don't know what SCOR means. Adam, I'm missing important context. Oh, just tips for writing an adventure? I don't know. I have so many videos on writing adventures. Yes, I have published multiple videos that give many tips and guidelines on writing adventures. Yes. So I'm sure I have tons of tips. But it would take me what, an hour to go over all of them or something? If you watch all the videos, I don't know. So the question is, do you have any tips for writing an adventure? Yes, I do. Do I feel a little sleazy with that answer? Yes, I do. I'm a bad person. T-Dog says, I watched The Professor with Matt Mercer, and even, I saw that he did like an interview. I haven't watched that video, but I saw the thumbnail for it. And even he said he planned his games by game. So he went game by game. Yeah. It's hard to plan in advance because you don't know what your players are going to do. For my Pathfinder 2 game, Thieves Abound, I had an adventure. I had a heist for them that I had planned in December of 2024. Roughly December 2024, I planned the adventure for them. And then they proceeded to go on side quest after side quest after side quest after side quest, which I don't fault them for because I gave them the plot hooks, I planted the rumors, and they decided to do them. And I was very happy for them to go do those things. I don't fault them for that. I know it was partially my fault, my responsibility. And they went off and did a whole bunch of other things. They didn't actually get around to running the adventure that I planned in December of 2024 until somewhere around, I want to say July of 2025, about 6 months afterwards. It was bonkers. It might have even been longer than that. I can't remember all the dates exactly, but it was a long time, and so if you plan too far in advance, which I was doing because I thought my players were going to go there, even though they hadn't really committed to it, but it just seemed the logical next step, I literally had to change significant portions of that adventure because things had changed in the interim, and the adventure just can't, it can't exist in the same way now because time has passed. And what was happening in that adventure, several months ago in game time has now changed, and I have to evolve those things. Otherwise, it just wouldn't make sense. The narrative, the fiction would just not make sense, And so, yeah, you can get into problems if you plan too far in advance. Or you do a lot of rework. You do extra work, right? Do you know your players or do you play online? What are your tips for 14-year-olds who want to play online with strangers? I do not know all my players. I play a lot of my games online, and most of the people are people that I don't know before, and they join my Patreon, or they'll come into one of my games I run is through Start Playing, and I'll just post a game and people will join. And I just get people that I have no idea who they are. They join a game and then we start playing, and 99% of them are really cool people and we have tons of fun, and I think that pro tip, the more you charge for your game, the better players you tend to get. Usually there are exceptions, but I have found that my games are not cheap. And I have found that I almost always get really good players who are committed, players who put forth effort, players who are prepared, players who are pretty good, normal people, and we all have fun. And I cannot help but think that having a high price tag to my games weeds out a lot of the subpar players who don't want to put forth effort, who are not nice people, you know what I mean? I don't know. And obviously this is just anecdotal, and I don't think there's any way to really
confirm this sort of thing, you know, but I don't even know what the point I was making was. Somebody asked me a question. Oh, they were talking about who was it? Oh, do you play online? Okay, what are your tips? Okay, so yeah, I do play online. What are your tips for 14-year-olds who want to play online with strangers? Don't tell them how old you are, and probably keep your camera turned off. Don't use a camera. You're young. I'm assuming this is you. Oops. You're young, and you have to protect yourself, okay? There are lots of bad people in this world, okay? You got to protect yourself first and foremost. So I would say don't tell them your age. Keep your camera off, and don't give them any personal identifiable information like your address and phone number. This seems like it should be Captain Obvious stuff, but you guys, people just like, they hit the brick wall of stupidity sometime with their head, you know, and they do stupid crap. So don't tell people anything about you that can identify you. Don't tell them your real name, especially not your last name. Be careful, protect yourself. There's lots of skeevy perverts out there, okay, that are just looking to prey upon someone, you know. So be careful. Be careful. I think that's the number one thing that I could tell you if you're young and you want to play online. Be very careful. And then try to be mature, man. Try to be mature. Read the room. If you're playing with people who are like taking the game a certain, like if they're really serious about the game and stuff, and then you come in and you're being all like childish and immature and stuff, they're probably not gonna like that, you know. So try to be mature about how you approach the game and stuff. I guess is the other thing I would say. LHRPG official, thank you for the super chat. What's my favorite non-D20 game system? Call of Cthulhu. Call of Cthulhu. I love Call of Cthulhu. Okay, let me say this again. I love the mechanics of Call of Cthulhu. The D20 roll under system, love that crap. Love that crap. My game system that I'm working on right now is it's not a D20 roll under. It's a D100 roll under system. And the game system I'm working on right now is D100 roll under, heavily inspired by Call of Cthulhu because I love that mechanic. It's beautiful. Now, the challenge I have with Call of Cthulhu is that Call of Cthulhu is very much an exploration type of game. Exploration. Like if you think of your traditional 3 pillars, right? You have combat, you have exploration, you have role playing. Call of Cthulhu is not very heavy on combat at all, right? If combat starts, things are going to be getting bloody and deadly very quickly. So it's very heavy on exploration and role playing. And I love, not role playing, social interactions. I'm committing my own pet peeve. Kill me now. So it's very heavy on social interactions and exploration. And I love social interactions. I love the talkie-talkie. I'll do that all day, right? But as a player, I do not like exploration very much. That is the pillar that I find the least interesting and the most boring to me. And there's a lot of Call of Cthulhu that's exploration, and that's not my cup of tea. And I love combat. My favorite 2 pillars are the talkie-talkie, social interactions, and combat. Love that crap. Exploration is like a cross to be born, you know, because other players like it, and so it's going to be in the game. What are you going to do about it, you know? But I could skip it personally, you know, for the most part. So that said, there have been I would say probably, and I've only ever played Call of Cthulhu at conventions too. I would say that 80% of Call of Cthulhu games that I've played at conventions have bored me out of my mind. Bad game design, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe it's just not my thing. And then 20% of Call of Cthulhu at conventions have been lots of fun, tons of fun. I loved them, you know. But you know, I could probably say the same thing about D&D games that I've played at conventions. The majority of them have been horrible, and then some of them have been fun. So
What do I know? What do I know? Maybe it's a convention game. And I don't know. At this point, now that I'm actually talking about it, I don't know. You got me. You got me. Well, Mystics, we will be releasing our D100 roll under game system in January of 2026. So if you pick that up, then you'll be able to play one, and you're gonna like it. It's good. It's really cool. If it weren't cool, I wouldn't be designing it. Yes, Jay, 100% correct. Call of Cthulhu is a different game if you're a D&D player. 100% different game. Totally different game. Do you know of a source for writing a horror game? No. Want to run a special Halloween special game? We have some stuff on. Let me see. I'm pretty sure we hold on a second. I'm gonna do a thing. We have some adventures on our website that are not exactly Halloween themed, but they might scratch that itch. I'm just gonna scroll through here. These ones right here. So this bundle right here, Lair magazine bundle issues 34 through 36. We have Luna and Lycan, Fiends and Flames. Now, Festivities and Famine is probably not going to be a Halloween theme for you, but I think Fiends and Flames and then Luna and Lycan, these two right here, are probably going to scratch that itch for you for a Halloween theme. So all of these have adventures in them, and it'll tell you right here. It tells you everything that's in here. You know, it tells you the levels of the adventures. It tells you what you get. It has monsters in there, you know, encounters, puzzles, traps. It has a whole bunch of stuff in here, you know. And I feel like if you're looking for a Halloween themed adventure type of thing, these will probably get you in the ballpark. It's not like overtly like, hello, Halloween, but it's like in the ballpark, I feel like. Jennifer's just keeping active. They know the rules. They know the rules. All right, we're about to draw the winner of the giveaway. All you have to do to win the giveaway is literally just be in chat and be active. Okay. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm going to do the list of shame. Do the list of shame of people who are not active and should become active before I do the drawing. Lynn K. A username. Well, you were inactive and you just became active, and I'm not going to read your new username because that is completely inappropriate. Brent Norton, Tim, the Bud, Driving in Dragons, Nick C, foreign language I cannot pronounce, Rusty Jedi, Joe R, Thorerin, Electron Zap, Platinum Pioneers, Suzanne just became active. Oh, by the skin of your teeth. Dissoon, No Linguister, Cerintha, 13th Fox, Afoot, Nicole Moon, who's been inactive the entire stream, Kelton, Nathan. All right. All of you are inactive. Become active. We're about to draw the winner. Brunch Princess, hello, lurking, just lurking. By the way, if you asked a question and I did not get to it, if you go down to the description of any of my videos, including this live stream, there is a link to a form where you can drop your question. And then I try to answer those questions in live streams. Occasionally I'll do a short where I answer the question too. And I'll try to get to those at some point. But you can always leave your question there, and there's a chance I'm going to answer it in a future live stream. Or you could just come back to the next live stream we have, and then maybe you'll get through, you know, and I won't ignore you again, you know, because that's what I'm doing. I'm literally just ignoring you because I'm a horrible, skeezy jerk of a human being. That's not what I'm doing. Wow. Some people believe me. They're like, they don't understand that I'm just I'm just like, I'm a goofball. So anyway, all right, here we go. We're drawing the winner to the giveaway. Choosing the winner. Oh, Jacob Cobberholm. You have won, sir. Did it announce it? Hold on a second. Oh, it did. Nightbot announced it. Oh, cool. It actually puts a message in chat where it announces it. Excellent. Beautiful. Well, congratulations, Jacob. And he's here too. So this is what you need to do, Jacob. You need to send an email to me. It's info@thedmlayer.com. 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 And just say, hey, I'm the winner. Woo. And then I will give you your $50 DM Layer store credit and you can get some cool stuff. Woo. All right. Thank you, Tashio. Tashio posted the email in the chat. Thank you, sir. Thank you, good sir. Mystics got shamed twice and didn't win. It's rigged. It's totally rigged. Yeah. I'm a jerk. All right, we'll close that. All right, there we go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's it for me today. But as you leave, go check out our Kickstarter, Feybound Trickery of the Wilds. Just you can learn more. There's a link down in the description, pinned comment. If you haven't pledged yet, feel free to pledge. Get yourself a cool book with a whole bunch of new stuff that you can use in your D&D games. So thank you, everyone, for hanging out in the stream, and I will see you in the next stream. Have a wonderful day. Happy game mastering, and, yeah. That's my ending. That's the closing. That's all I have. Okay, I'm done. I'm leaving now. Gotta close this in the stream. In stream, your stream will stop immediately, and you will no longer be live.